how are you? Are you good? I hope you're well. You look great today because you're confident. You have good taste in music. You're going to ace whatever you're doing today because you are fantastic just the way you are. And that's the kind of intro that you need, that you want, and that you deserve. And that's the kind of intro that you get here on Usually Wrong. And this is episode number 42. Thank you for listening. I'm glad you're here. If you haven't, rate us on iTunes or whatever service you use. Leave us a comment. I would love that. I'd appreciate that more than you know. Really helps us out. Really helps me feel good inside. So please do that if you can. I would love that. Thanks for listening. This is with Tyler Vietmeier, who is great. He's fantastic. Before we get to him, if you're in the Pittsburgh area, come see me at Unplanned Comedy Theater this Saturday. I don't know what that date is. Today's the 11th. I don't know what date that is. But come see me do comedy. It's for a benefit show. Chris Grieve is putting it on, so come on out to that. I'll be at Unplanned Comedy Theater January 5th and in Akron, Ohio, January 6th. So come on out to those shows. You can find all the information at natenolf.com, and I'll probably post it on Instagram a couple days in advance. Follow at Nolf Comedy on Instagram. And if you have a Twitter, follow us on at Usually Wrong. Or at Usually Wrong on that site, Twitter. Thanks. This is with Tyler Vietmeier, who's great. He's a photographer. He's a producer. Maybe I shouldn't say producer. Videographer, audio guy in town. One of the most talented people in this city. We talk about it a little bit, so I don't think he'd mind me saying he's one of those people, like a boom operator, photographer, videographer that maybe you haven't heard of before, but he's so talented, so good at what he does. And I was really excited to have him on. His fiancée, Bridget, sat in with us as well. So it's a lot of fun. This is a really good episode. I'm really excited for you to hear it. He's part of the Mike Wysocki Show, too, that I should mention. So definitely listen to that show. It's another podcast. You can search for it. I'll include a link in the bio if you'd like to check that out. And follow him on Instagram at MRTV412, at MrTV412, for a whole host of good stuff. So I'm excited for you to listen to this episode. Here it is, Usually Wrong, episode number 42 with Tyler Vietmeier.
When we finally got down to something which the individual says he really wants to do, I will say to him, you do that and forget the money. Because if you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you will spend your life completely wasting your time. You will be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living. That is, to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way.
What the hell was I thinking?
Let's just go. So if you hold it right here, that's the best way to do it.
I was gonna say, tell me if my levels are good. Okay, testing 1, 2.
I don't like the headphones on.
You don't? I'll wear them if you want me to.
You can wear them if you like. You're a technical guy.
I know you didn't wear headphones for ours.
You know what it is? I feel like it just separates me from the conversation.
You sound great.
Does it sound fine?
Yeah, you sound good.
Because people will tell me that they can hear me sometimes and not hear the guest, and then vice versa.
Hold on, turn me up a little bit.
Turn you up a little bit?
Yeah.
How's that?
Oh, there we go. Testing.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Equal?
Yeah.
You can keep them on.
You got louder.
I got loud.
Yeah, I think did you turn up you?
Did I do the wrong one?
Hold on, testing
Oh,
1,
this
2.
is
There
great.
we go.
This
there
is
we go.
great. Is
Okay,
that good?
That's good, yeah.
You tell me throughout the way.
Okay.
You're the technical guy.
I always just, rule for thumb, if you're not, putting plugins, just try to get to, your yellow blink. Don't, never clip.
Okay.
But, usually yellow's, 0 probably on your mixer.
Right.
That's probably good.
Oh, that's fun. I don't know anything about it.
I will teach you if
you'll
you
get
need it.
professional, podcasts, and, you guys do a good job. And it's they
thanks.
have somebody there for them.
I
that
did
can
learn off of other people.
Did you?
Buzzy Torek from Epicast has taught me
Did you do stuff for other podcasts there?
Yeah.
Because you're big in Epicast.
I would probably say I'm the only other person other than Buzzy and Nick who own it.
Oh, okay.
But Nick is kind of he doesn't do really editing of podcasts or anything. He just kind of, he owns Black Forge, so he's pretty busy.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much how much time do you devote to editing a podcast? I don't do pretty much anything with this.
We'll see, like, our new format, not, like, I mean, I came out with
nothing.
those, like, nothing, yeah.
Right.
I mean, I put some plugins on them, sweeten them. I'll cut anything if I know anything bad in it, but...
Right. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you think a space, because, like, when I did your show with Mike Wysocki, it's a cool space. It's like a cool, intimate space for conversation.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I feel like when people come in here, it's like, it's weird. Because, like, a lot of the time I'm recording during the day, so I'm in, like, a goddamn suit
Well,
and
you looked
tie.
great at my house, too.
I did look great
I
at
was
your
gonna
house.
say.
But do you think part of why, because the show's great. I've listened to it a number of
Thank
times, and I like the format.
It's changed, and I'm getting good feedback. Which
Yeah,
is good.
it's nice. Do you think the space where you record something is important?
Yes. I will say that because we were in an office building when Mike and I first started the show.
Yeah?
And it was with the Trib, and I mean, it was cool with the Trib name, but I didn't like the studio. It was in like the office building down in North Shore.
Do you think it's the professionalism? Because I
Yeah.
try and make this a conversation,
I
but
think
then
so.
people step into this space, and it's almost a little weird that they're coming into. It's almost like I'm trying to sell them insurance. Maybe you didn't feel that way.
I don't feel that way because I
I've
know
gotten
you,
people-
though. I
Okay,
like I know
that's
you as a
fair.
comedian. I think is probably why I'm just like, oh,
Fair.
I met you first as Nate Knopf, the comedian,
That's
not
true,
the
you did.
insurance guy. But I mean, like, yeah, I think space has a lot to do with the quality that your podcast can be at. Yeah, quality of conversation, I should say.
True, because it's anything. Like
Yeah.
I'll walk in. If I had to do a podcast about me walking into a party, I'd be a fucking loser. You know what I mean? Like I'd be
yeah, for real.
just a silly goofball. But in like your closed space inside of that one studio, it's almost like the vicinity between you and the
It
guest
could not get
too.
any tighter in my studio.
But that's where you have conversations, right?
Me and Mike were worried. We were like, I wonder if we could fit another person in here. And luckily, you were not that large.
Well, I'm not a large guy.
No, but I mean, and then we fit Maya, my little dog, in there too. So I mean, it's a party.
Oh, that's true.
yeah. She was in there too. Yeah,
She's a
3.5 people.
Do you? Okay, so are you from around here originally?
I am South Hills,
You are from the South
Baldwin
Hills?
grad.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Then you're right here.
I'm right here.
That's
I
wonderful.
have not left. Well, I left for a little bit. I went to school in Orlando.
Oh, where?
Why? Full Sail University.
Why Orlando?
It actually had nothing to do with the city. Full Sail's kind of like a media school, and I went for audio. I went for recording arts.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me why. Because I had a lot of friends growing up. Because I did a lot of like film stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever I was in high school, and a lot of people told me I should go into something like that, and then I went into finance, like the exact opposite. Like I went into economics.
I'm so bad at math. That would not have been an option for me.
Why did you go into audio?
Actually, I took a job senior year. I was tired of waiting tables already. And I started working at Jerome Bettis Grill 36.
Okay,
in the
yeah.
North Shore. My cousin was the assistant manager, and I food ran there for like a week. I hated it. It was terrible. And like people were so mean, and they're so busy during Steeler games.
Oh
and,
my God, that would be a disaster.
I saw
Especially right there. Too.
Yeah, no, I mean it's like it's a madhouse. People were so mean. And then obviously Steeler Sundays, everyone's just hammered.
Yeah,
and it's ridiculous. But I saw that they had this like little AV booth like right in the one dining room, and I walked over and started talking to the guy, and my cousin was like, "Man, maybe if you're interested, maybe you could like train with them and take some extra days." So I started learning how to run their system, their touchscreen system.
Why is that attractive to you though?
I don't know. I didn't want to leave working there. So, and I was like, I just started, and I was like, I can't like do that to my cousin.
Right.
Like that would be so rude of me. I know it was never when I was a kid. I was like so afraid to leave a job quickly, and
Was it just afraid of hurting people?
it was more of like because she like made like I interviewed and got the job in like an hour. It was
okay.
it was like in like obviously college kids apply for jobs there too, and I
Right.
was still in high school, and like they gave me the job, but I was interested in it because like the guy would play games with the tables, and then on Steeler Sundays we'd have like cornhole tournaments and
Oh,
stuff
that's
like
cool,
that where
yeah.
you could talk on the mic
Oh,
and
that's
like with
fun.
the whole restaurant.
Yeah.
And luckily the guy who was doing it, no offense to him, he was just kind of more reserved, I guess would be the word.
Okay.
He didn't really like to talk on a mic, didn't really play any games.
Like the worst job.
the worst person, but he was very good at fixing things. He was more of like an AV
Oh, he's like a
tech.
technical guy. Yeah.
Like he could like rewire anything we needed or stuff. So he was very valuable, but like not for this position.
Right.
So they brought me into it, and I kind of obviously am who I am, and I just was like, oh, I'll just act crazy every time there. I'll play crazy games with people. I'll give free
What
stuff
you
away.
need for that sort
Yeah.
of thing, you're doing a host spot.
That's what I mean.
to
It's
there.
like a host
Yeah.
spot, and like I would try to like Kentucky Derby. We did like fake bets and like games like that, and it was fun. But that kind of was the first time I ever saw a mixer and a microphone and understanding that. And then I toured Point Park, and I didn't really like it just because they were still a little bit smaller in 2012.
Okay.
Like around there. That was before
I don't
the
know a
huge
lot about
expansion.
Point Park. I know that it's like a theater school.
Yeah, and I think that's what kind of got me away from it. I was trying to go strictly into like, I wanted to be a DJ. I think that was
Is that
probably
true?
it. Yeah.
That's interesting, but you're doing, if you want to be a DJ, you're doing like a performance, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
and I think that's where I like kind of, as I got older and got down to Florida, I met DJs, and I was like,
oh yeah,
I was like, these guys, some of these guys like make their own sets. Some were doing the things that I was used to doing, like hosting like wedding type things. I could do that. Like I'd help guys out here and there, just
Right.
hosting weddings or setting up speakers or something like that. But yeah, I like met guys who were like really like making sets, scratching, like playing clubs in Orlando, and I was like, I'm not a freaking DJ
you're
at
in
all.
the hub of DJs.
That's what I mean.
in
Like that's like
Orlando,
house music.
Florida.
That's house music central. And like I'll never forget some kids like, why do you call yourself a DJ? And I was like, damn, you got a good point. Like I mean, like I don't really play sets.
Why
like, in
do you
clubs.
call yourself?
Because
a DJ?
that's what I used to call myself. I used to call my mantra instead of just, I call myself TV whenever talking about audio, like Mr. TV.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
like usually my logo when I put
Yeah.
on things. I used to be DJ TV when I was a little
Oh
kid.
my god.
And like I was trying to make mixes and stuff like that, and it just didn't phase.
What draws you to?
It fizzled out.
What draws you to? That's what I'm really curious about. Is what draws you to the technical aspect of audio and mixing? Because I'm interested in both, right? Like when I watch SNL, I'm interested in the people performing, but I'm really interested in
capturing
the
everything.
exactly
Yeah.
like how does Lorne and the writers and the cast make everything work in that
I think
the
that's-
space
I think
and B,
that
the
too.
time frame. That's what I'm like. Why am I interested in that just as much as I'm interested in the performance? Like when I talk to comics, I'm interested in their their material, right? But I'm also interested in how they got there. Why am I doing comedy in the first place?
Okay.
It's not an interview question. It's
No,
also not
no.
an interview, I promise. But was there something growing up even before
That
Drum Bettis that was like, oh, I think I'm interested in like technical stuff more than I'm interested in performance?
actually no.
No? That was it?
That was it. Yeah. It actually weirdly, that's all I wanted to be when I was a kid, was a performer, like of some
Really?
sort. That was like the longest time. I used to just like read sports encyclopedias and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
I would like just watch ESPN nonstop, and I really thought I was gonna be a sportscaster.
Is that true?
Or like someone just like hosted television shows or something like that.
Did you want to go into journalism ever?
So I took that ended quickly in high school. I took a broadcast journalism class like freshman year, and I had it first period, and I had this like crazy teacher, and she ruined it for me.
Oh,
and
I
I
hate
got
that.
like every
Don't
day.
you hate that
Yeah.
when like
She got
thinking
fired
back-
the next year too. Like
Is that
everyone
true?
else got to experience like a different teacher for that class, and I didn't.
I thought the same way with chemistry. Like I took like an honors chemistry course and then I took AP Chem, and I loved early chemistry and then AP Chem. You're shaking your head. No.
She took a lot of science classes in high school. Not chem.
I was turned off by chemistry because of the professor. Like it was because of the teacher who was teaching me.
It
Doesn't that
sucks.
suck?
Because then, like, as you get older, you like are like, man, I was kind of interested.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
interested in this, and then it was
Shitty.
somebody else that
Showed you the way.
turned
yeah.
me off.
I know.
with that.
Well, the issue with that too is I kind of like after that I stopped writing or like trying to do that, and I was still playing football.
Mhm.
I played like every sport growing up, and that's why I was like, oh, I could talk about sports forever. And then quit 11th grade, and I was like, man, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with my life.
Right.
And then yeah, my cousin just started me there, and then I was like, you know what, like maybe if I don't want to be the face on things, I could be behind the scenes.
Isn't it funny when we're in like 11th and 12th grade and you think we have to know what we want to do
Dude, I still
forever? I still don't know what I want to do.
I know,
Isn't that
I'm a mess.
crazy? When I had a bit about it a while ago and I want to start doing it again. It's like when I was in college or let's say high school, when I saw somebody who was 25 years old, my age now, I thought, oh, they have their shit together. They know what they want to do. And I'm like, that's the craziest thing in the world to me. Not to mention people who are like 25 and 26 right now who do have their shit figured out and know what they want to do. I'm not envious of those people anymore.
No.
I like the ability to be like I have 70 fucking years
to
until I
figure
die.
it out.
Isn't that
I mean, yeah.
Isn't that so much fun? Do you feel like you're on the path that you know what you want to do for the rest of your life now? Like you said, okay, this is something that I want to do for the rest of my life, but do you think you have shit figured out? This is not a gotcha question. by the
No,
way.
it's funny you say. I was just talking to Bridget about this. No, I'd be lying if I said I did. I do feel that I will do this the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I think that I find things and I get so interested in them that I honestly sometimes like video work. I didn't start doing video stuff until like last year.
Really?
Yeah.
You're very good at it.
I just picked up a camera. And yeah, that was literally it. And it was because we were doing the podcast and the trip was like, we need videos and photos.
So
too.
I can take care of that.
I'll do it. And I
Really?
just bought a camera and did it.
Do you like it then?
I do I've started to, I think, like it more. But it is like hard to, when you meet these people, like the cellos or someone who like
Yeah.
is like been in the game for so
A
long.
long
And you
time.
feel like not like you're like not a part of that or like you shouldn't be in the same spectrum as them, but
It's like when you go to a party and you feel like you don't belong a little bit.
yeah, it's exactly like that. And I think that's always been, I think, my issue and also one of my strengths is that like I do that with a lot of different things. Like I feel that I belong, but I don't kind of sometimes like
Yeah.
even like podcasting. Like I'm not the biggest podcaster. I don't do them all the time, but I mean when we do them, I think they're good. Or like videos, like I don't come out with them all the time, but when I do, I think they're good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah.
What you just said reminds me of childhood a little bit because it's something that I'm still feeling today where if we don't put ourselves into those positions where it's right now I feel like I don't belong, then we're never going to get to where we want to be. I
Yeah.
look at it from stand up. I started 2 years ago, and if I constantly thought about the social scene over at Hambones, now the Burning Bridges Comedy Club, if I thought about that social scene and how much I felt like I don't belong, I wouldn't be here, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be doing a podcast. I wouldn't be doing stand-up as much because that would be so overwhelming to me.
Yeah.
Like that makes me think about childhood a lot, where it's like if I didn't push myself as a kid to do things, where would any of us be?
That was deep, man.
We're a
beautiful.
deep podcast.
That was deep.
Tyler.
That was deep, man. But I mean, I think also like
You know what I mean?
when you
though.
like feel like you're out like that, like usually it's you in your own head. Isn't that
it.
wild?
That's
like
exactly it.
like they actually like those people that you feel that they feel that way or like that subject doesn't even fucking matter.
And everybody started there too.
Yeah.
Everybody started with, I don't belong here. I'm gonna.
Those people might not even still feel like they
And
belong.
they
They're just
probably
doing it.
don't. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
wild, yeah.
That's interesting too.
And it's I think social media has a lot to do with the way people
tell me
feel
why.
like that.
Why do you
I just
say
think that like the perception of people doing better or like couples, like it's like a relationship. Like you always see like Facebook makes it seem like every relationship is perfect.
Yes.
Like that kind of way. That's the same way in the career world, like in our field too. I mean, even comedians.
Yeah.
Sometimes
100%.
they make it seem like they're killing it, but they're not. I mean,
100%. Everybody's faking
Everyone's
it on
faking
Instagram.
it because they have to. Because like they know that if they don't, they could get forgot about too. They're like
Yes.
trying to get. They're just trying to be.
I was just talking to Chad
Right.
Medved about it, who does that I'll Call You Right Back podcast, and we were talking about that. I think he heard it on like Joe Rogan or something. But Instagram is just a highlight reel of the best moments of your life.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to post that they're having a shitty day on Instagram, maybe on Facebook, but like I'm talking about like Instagram, the best of the best. This is everything in your
really
day.
a highlight reel.
Doesn't that stem depression? Like, doesn't depression kind of stem from that in some cases?
I think
I'm not
someone
an
who
expert
does
in
suffer
this.
from depression, yes. I think,
Yeah.
I think it does. 100%.
Isn't that? It's just an interesting thing to me because if I was truly honest with myself on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, I don't think people would like me as much. But we're all faking it. Everybody in this industry
yeah.
is faking it at some point.
Most certainly. And I mean, I even started, I feel like on Facebook, I stopped doing like the political thing. I stopped arguing with people. Because like, yeah, it's just like, man, I'm taking too much. The effort that I was putting into them too is just.
Yes.
And even like Instagram, I'm now very active on Instagram. And like this week, I only had like, it says like those things when you're a professional page and you can track those numbers.
Yeah.
I get like sad about when my numbers are down. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that doesn't really freaking matter. Like,
It doesn't matter.
if I got booked for something, that's better than
Exactly.
someone looking at it on Instagram.
Correct. But we look at stuff like that, and we look at numbers and we look at likes, and it's a to us sometimes it's a depiction of our worth.
Yeah.
I mean, that Black Mirror episode, did you watch that one with
We're
like
on
the
season 1. Still.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. But
well, in the third season, I'm not
Okay.
gonna spoil anything, but it's in like the trailer, like the bio and
Yeah.
stuff of the episode. But it's everybody gets a rating. Everybody gets a 1 through 5 rating, and that determines social status and all sorts of other stuff, and it's like we're already kind of there. Like we talk about Instagram followers. Right now, I'm trying to build an Instagram presence more and more because I think that will help me book shit.
That's literally the only
And
reason
that's
I do
it. But I struggle with, oh, this post didn't get enough likes. Am I not as funny as somebody else who gets thousands of likes? And there's a lot of factors that
I compare
play
myself
into
the
it.
same way, not with like obviously like a joke or something, but I lifestyle bloggers are kind of like, if you look at my Instagram, I feel that I compete with that kind of demographic more along.
Yeah.
Just because like, yeah, I feel like I could edit a photo for hours and put like maybe even like a fancy hashtag with it or something, and like it'll get like 50 likes, but then like someone will literally just be talking about like a lotion that they recommend, which is great. I'm not like trying to downplay.
Sure,
but that thing will get like 1,000 likes, and it's just a picture of a bottle of lotion.
Right.
It's wild.
Right. How do you think we get out of that, though? How do you think we get out of this spiral? And look, the podcast is called Usually Wrong.
'Cause we're usually wrong,
Because
yeah.
I'm always wrong about everything. And you know what? My girlfriend makes this joke now, too, because we'll be talking and everything. Like, I'll make an argument like, well, you're usually wrong. It's like, don't you dare how dare you
Don't
use that against me? How do we get out? Like, honestly, how do we get out of a spiral like that? Do we spend less time on our phones? And that's such a dad thing to say, right?
Yeah.
But do you think how do we get out of that?
I would say that would be the answer, but I mean, like I worked at like a place at a news station here. I won't name them, but WPXI. And I mean, like their focus has changed over the years. Like every quarter meeting we had, social media was the number one thing we talked about.
Yeah.
Like they would say, like, give it a few years. Most people get their news through their phone.
Isn't that crazy too?
Yeah. Like they don't care about what comes on that TV. Most of the people won't even turn it on. So like, I think that it probably is going to continue because now you have like big entities getting involved. Like you have like WPXI run sponsored ads. You have, I mean, look how many sponsored ads you get. Like even when
absolutely.
you're watching stories.
I run sponsored ads for us.
I just started doing myself too.
Yeah.
And they work.
They work.
That's what I mean. And I don't see, I literally do see that trend of everything going to the phone. And it allows people like us to be our own employers too, which is cool. But it also makes it so like how we just discussed.
Yeah. I ran sponsored ads for this podcast. I got like 12 new listeners, like loyal listeners. And where do you think this goes? Like when I look at 50 years down the road, I listened to Elon Musk on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he made this unbelievable argument about how 100 years from now, we're not going to be humans anymore. We're going to be combination humans, cyborgs. And I'm like, that's not
like the
crazy.
Terminator, literally.
Kinda. But it's like, that's kind of already true.
Yeah.
What's the anxious feeling I get when I leave this somewhere? It's crazy.
Your phone?
Yeah, my phone, for sure.
Oh, I was gonna say I committed to the phone wallet case.
Oh God,
this
it's
is like
over.
a mega.
Oh, I like that.
The
Yeah,
Nintendo,
it's a Game
yeah.
Boy.
But no, I mean, anytime this thing goes missing, yeah. So it's a double whammy for me.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Do you think when you're producing audio, when you're producing any type of video, do you think it's more the content, or do you think it's more how the content is being presented? And are you conscious of that when you're creating something?
I don't know, because like sometimes my stuff is like I'll just go to an event and someone will be like, shoot some video for this, and so then I usually just try to capture things that I would want to watch when watching your recap.
Right.
That's usually like, even like with audio, a little bit different. I get a little bit more creative, I think, with audio because
that's
I'm
a
more
world you're
comfortable.
used
Yeah.
to.
Now like with podcasts, yeah, I think like even when we do interviews, I tried to like specifically talk about the way we would go from questions, or even like when we would go places, like when I do boom for even like short films, I think about that mostly. Like,
Yeah.
if I put this mic below them, will like certain sounds will sound a certain way, or like even the environment I'm in.
Right. And but again, that stuff is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
But do you think it's your job to make something amazing? Because if it's all think about podcasts, right? That is 99% content, right? It's
Yeah.
not as much how you're saying things. It is what you're saying.
There really
it's
isn't
not
a
like
creative aspect to it.
exactly.
It's just us talking.
But
into
think
the mic.
about video and stuff. There's the content, and then it's also how it's being presented. So you, as somebody, in charge of finishing that content, bringing it to the most optimal place, do you think it's your job or responsibility to make it outstanding, amazing. Because if the content isn't there, what do you have really to work with?
I
Do you
think
think
so,
it's
yeah.
your job to make it
Yeah,
amazing?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But I mean, depending on what the project is, talent is like very important. Even when you're shooting video or like a podcast or something, they do provide you a ton of, like, they're half the battle too. I guess
Right.
you could say. Like, I mean, I've done some short films where the actors are terrible,
Okay.
so that like no matter how good you make it,
It's not gonna help.
be good.
it's not going to help.
No, and I mean, same thing with podcasts, I think, too. I mean, I've seen there has been bad podcast
Sure.
shows, but I mean, yeah, I think you still, as the person who's making the content, has to I think flow is everything with video.
You think flow is everything?
Like, I think like event recaps, to me, like, they have to make sense.
you have to
like,
tell a story.
They have to tell a story, but I don't also like when people overtell, like, try too hard on telling a story.
Right.
Or it kind of takes away from the event or something. Like, you're not
Yeah.
really focused on the event. You're kind of focused on, like, if someone focuses on a performance during it or something, I think that's sometimes cool, but I don't know. That's a confusing one.
Do you think you've had an eye and an ear for this stuff since Jerome Bettis? Do you think that's something people are born with? Do you think they have to grow up with it?
I think I've got it over the last couple of years, actually.
Yeah. Tell me why.
I don't know. I was really raw. I mean, even like last year shooting photos, I probably would say like within the last year, I've probably finally gotten comfortable shooting photos. But yeah, I think you just gain all this experience over the years. And I mean, I think you can be born. I think like I always thought I was very outgoing, and I thought that was my best feature.
Oh,
and that's
okay.
what like teachers always told me, like my senior project and stuff. I think that gave me the ability to start gaining these other things that I do.
You think being outgoing helped you
Yeah,
with
because
this?
I reach out to a lot of people, and then some
Okay,
people
yeah.
call. I will be the first person to notice how annoying I am sometimes.
Yeah.
but persistency is everything for me. I will
Okay.
I will blow somebody up. I will send you an email like every month, like if I want to like work with you, or if
Yeah.
I want to like if I just even send you my resume. Like I do that. I've done that since I was in college,
Really?
nonstop.
Well, that's such a trait, though. Like, I think people are afraid of getting on people's nerves.
Yeah.
And it's...
People
When-
ghost me all the time, and I don't. And I used to
Sure.
take it really personally.
Yeah.
Like I'd be like, we used to talk, and then once I started like asking for help, you just kind of ghost me.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, why would that person do that to me? But now, like, I don't care, because like I'm like, oh, they're busy. They could be, whatever.
Well, I understand, dude.
Yeah.
It's sales. Comedy sales, and what you're talking about, it's a numbers game. It's
Yeah.
at some point something is going to happen from me blowing up people's phones.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not the right term, but being persistent.
There's a way like being annoying with it. I will
Sure.
agree, but like, I mean, like, I don't think it's annoying if you're literally giving your skill sets to somebody and saying,
Yeah,
I want to
exactly.
literally work with you, or I want to help you on
Right.
this. And a lot of people, I mean, in this city especially, won't take the help, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
And they either flutter or they succeed really good. I mean, you can't hate them for that, for
No.
not taking your helps.
Yeah,
But
it's not their job
no,
to
it's not.
accept work.
It's not your job or their job. It's just if you guys can work together, that's great. But
People, I think, in my experience, people have appreciated my persistency with things. I don't think I'm the same way as you. I think from what you said, you're a lot better at it. But do you think people appreciate that persistency whenever you get them?
yeah, I think so.
You think so?
I think, and also depending on the project though, and it depends on the like the world I'm in. I don't know, like, how would I word this? I would say like podcasters and comedians. I think don't make. I mean, maybe comedians. I would say probably don't appreciate my
Okay.
my persistency.
Comedians are a weird group,
because
too.
they you always work another job, or like they do
Yeah.
comedy, they do a podcast or something. They're very busy. But I mean, like, musicians love it when you
Oh,
are
I bet.
persistent,
I
because
bet.
they're persistent. They will.
Yes.
I need someone to listen to this one song.
Yeah.
They'll accept that, and that's how you sometimes get stuck doing like free work and stuff too, because musicians never have any money.
Yeah, true.
But
Well, do you think that's the case? I think musicians would be more persistent because they have an end product. Like, I have jokes that I can tell on stage, but
Yeah.
that requires a venue, that requires an audience.
you
Musicians
still got other variables that you need.
Yeah. Musicians have a product. They
Yeah.
can say, okay, this is an actual piece of art that I have for you in a 4-minute MP3 file.
Yeah.
Here is the product. So
So like if you like it, hey, like we could do something.
Yeah.
That's when And I think that's probably why they.
I think that
like,
has to be part of it.
And I mean, and I've had success with it, and I have not had success with the persistency. But I mean, like for instance, a good story recently is I applied for a job with the Steelers, and they literally called me back and were like, "Hey, you do not have enough video experience for this job." I was like,
Really?
"All right, fine." And then like a week later, they called me because I sent them an email back to like the non-respond thing, and I was like, "Well, I do audio too. Here's my like resume again, if you guys decide." And they did, and they called me, and now I do boom here and there for them. I mean, it's not like a serious all the time job, but
Sure.
I gained a client by just being a little bit more persistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's missing. I think that's missing in a lot of different fields.
I think so too.
Do you think people are afraid of persistency?
Like Bridget and I talk about this. I think people are afraid to ask questions a lot. I ask a lot of questions, and again, that probably is why some people think I'm so annoying. But
Thank you,
ooh,
computer.
Something's-
This happens all the time.
Talking to you.
So that's happened to me in class sometimes too, and everybody like turns around.
I was like, what?
Some idiot.
I thought my phone was going off. I was like,
Yes, I think people are afraid to ask questions too.
they're afraid for help. They're afraid to ask for help. It's
yeah, I
the
get
society
it.
we live in. But then there's some people who ask for too much help, I guess. But
Well, I would say I'm afraid to ask for help as well, and I think that's partly an ego thing where it's like I want to do a podcast on my own. I mean, nobody helps me out with this. I mean, this is all 100% me doing this, and that's the way I like things. And that's also the reason I like stand-up more than something like improv, because improv,
you have to work with
you have to
more
work
people, yeah.
with people where you share in the success, but you also share in the failure. I don't like that. I like stand up because I can write an entire set list, and then if it fucking bombs, it's my fault.
Yeah.
It's completely on my own. And I think that kind of is the same thing as asking for help is on the improv scene.
Yes. Okay. That's a good tie-in right there.
Wow, that's a great tie-in. These are
compare-
great
Yeah,
tie-ins.
these are great tie-ins.
You're like comedy adjacent, it seems like. You don't do stand up, right?
I wish I did.
You wish you did.
It's like my dream job.
Is it?
I would love to be a stand-up comedian. I'm terrified of it. I worked at the Improv, and I watched.
Oh,
I
you
watched
did
the
work
open
at the
mics.
Improv, yeah.
I watched even like comedians who are pretty big
You
names.
said that.
You see people bomb, and it's like unbelievable. Sometimes you're like, oh man,
Yeah.
like hurts you. You're like, ah,
Yeah.
that person's like, but they're so either you get numb to it. Like you're just like, yeah, I didn't do good tonight, but I'll get them back tomorrow. It's like a baseball player when you strike out.
Well, that's part of it, yeah, with like open mics and stuff.
Yeah.
If you don't do well, it's just I've just started taking it as a learning experience. Like, yeah, it sucks in the moment. It's like, oh my God, I'm bombing not only in front of audience members, but at open mics you're bombing in front of comedians too.
Yeah.
It's like people who could book you for
Yeah.
shit. And now it's that's a little shaky. Nah, but when you get off stage, it's like I can't even worry about this because I'm
Yeah.
gonna go on stage either tonight or two more
Another day,
times this
yeah.
week, and it's I can't. But I know what you're saying with like even with people at the Improv. Like I've seen people not do well there. I don't think I've ever seen a big name there do poorly.
Not like poorly, just not as well. Like I'd like some of the rooms laughing, some of them are just like not getting it sometimes, and you see it in their faces. And that,
Yeah.
like when I played baseball when I was a little kid, that was striking out was like I was like one of those
Oh,
cracks,
that's
and I was
fun,
good
yeah.
too. Like I would play big travel leagues, but yeah, like striking out, like I just never could get over the fact of like the failure.
Do you
That's all.
think there's an experience in your life that was a failure that made you who you are? Not necessarily who you are, but impacted you in a way.
I think
that
I'm still
was-
going through it. I think like my school loans and going freelance, and I think that's like the toughest thing I've
Yeah.
ever done. And I mean high school was rough too. I was not very good at school,
Okay.
but I think it was more of an effort thing. I just didn't care. It
Okay.
was more one of those things. But as I've gotten older, yeah, I think like the battle with the school, and like once I graduated, I'm sure you went through it. When you first graduate college, it's like it was just
it's
a weird. it was-
Yeah.
and there was a couple of months where I didn't have a job, and like I went and started working at Guitar Center, and that kind of got me back into the world again. Like I started selling audio equipment, and I was like, you know what, like I know more about this stuff than the average Joe.
Right.
And I was like, I should start getting together here. And I did, and then I took the job at PXI, and then I worked there for 2 years. And now I'm like in the freelance, but I'm still paying my loans. I acquired a lot of gear, so I acquired a lot of debt, obviously. But
yeah.
I think that's not a failure, but I think like those trying times is what's making. Yeah, I think I'm in like the middle of it.
Oh,
right now.
that's so fun that you know that though. I've never been an experience in my life, and now since I've been doing stand up, I'm a little more conscious
Yeah.
of in like I'll have an event and I'll be like, oh, this is gonna be a good story later.
Yeah.
But for years I wasn't like that. I wasn't able to actually see the experience that I was going through as some type of learning experience or something that's going to make me better, but it's so interesting that you're there.
College was that for me, though. I think that was just a blur. Like, I went to school, like partied, and I mean, we lived together, so it was a little bit different where I didn't have to like live in a dorm or something. But
right.
I still don't like look at the things I went through at Full Sail like as like experience. You know what I'm saying? Like how you just said, like I looked at it like college. Like I was like, I wanted to get done, I want to get a job kind of situation.
Yeah.
I didn't look at it as the experiences I actually went through there were actually like when I'm up at 1 o'clock in the morning and a program fails and like I didn't look at those experiences in college when that happened and been like, what did I do?
Yeah. Did you look at college, or did you when you were in school, did you want to be in something like a freelance career? Did you say
I actually didn't?
You
That's
didn't
funny you say that. No,
you wanted to work 9 to 5.
I just wanted to work for a company that I knew that I liked and like knew that it would stay around. I don't know, and I know that's like the most impossible thing in media, but
yeah.
Like honestly, that's why I took the job at PXI, because I was like, man,
I watched
them like literally since I was a little kid moving
They're not
back.
Going
like,
anywhere.
They're not going anywhere. But then you get in there and then you're like, man, the industry's changing. So like,
yeah,
that changed my aspect of the way I looked at like working at a corporation.
Right.
But I mean, I still would if like Vice or someone called me tomorrow. I'd go there in a second.
We're going there.
Nat Geo too, or like someone like that. But
oh, interesting. Why?
I love the fact that their photographers get to travel the world.
Oh,
like
that's
Do you follow
fun.
them on Instagram?
I don't follow them on
Follow
Instagram.
that page. It's great.
Okay.
But and they get to tell stories with their photographs, and I think it's so great. But as for like a news corporation, like kind of like a typical town news station, I'd never do it again.
Interesting.
Yeah, never.
That's interesting to me. Well, how did you get involved with Mike Wysocki then? Because the show's great.
So actually, Mike and I met in October, I think, of 2016. I had heard of him because obviously DVE.
Yeah.
But I was so young when I think Mike was on the air. And
He
Craig
has
was
a
on
radio voice.
He really does.
He really does. Which is a good thing. I'm not shitting on Mike Wysocki. That's great.
No, that's awesome. And even like when I still talk about him all the time, people go back to those days like instantly, like, oh my God, I remember him. He was on with Cred and the guys, and then they went to Q, and I'm like, yeah, now we have a podcast. Follow it. But like we met because I knew this guy who had a contract with the Trib, and he approached me about producing podcasts, and was like, I don't know anything about producing. I don't know, and I want to do like 5. And I was like, whoa, okay.
Huh.
Let's kind of look at the first one you have, and then so we started looking at that, and it was Mike's. And it was just kind of weird, I thought, at first, the way it was flowing. So I kind of was like, I'll produce it, and I'll start. Then we started getting big-name guests. We did, like, the live stream thing, and that kind of, like, how me and Mike got rolling. And then, we were making money from the Trib, and then we kind of had a falter with the Trib. They stopped paying us, and they were like, hey, you can raise your own money for sponsorships. And we were like, well, we don't really need you then.
Yeah.
And then they moved our studio. So then me and Mike were like, we'll go independent. And then that was how me and Mike got a little bit closer too through that.
Yeah.
We went to Epicast with Buzzy, and we did that live stream last year. And then this year we were just like, you know what? Let's take away the live stream, because it was actually doing well.
Yeah.
Compared to most people's live streams in this city, we had definitely the best views.
That's interesting too. Why don't live streams do well in Pittsburgh?
I don't know.
I don't know why.
But I'm not gonna lie, some of my episodes would have obviously Pittsburgh Dad had like 16,000 or whatever it was. And but some nights I'd get like 1,000 viewers, and I'd be like, that's so confusing.
Why?
This we're taking commercials, we have multiple guests, we got like comedians, I got all this coming for you, and people don't care. And I was like,
right.
And it did make me realize that maybe the Facebook world wasn't as powerful, I think, as like even like PXI was imagining, unless you are that entity.
Right.
Like where you literally have millions of likes, where it's getting to 1 million people's pages. But like trusting people to share it.
It doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't happen. So
I can't tell you the last time I've shared something other than stuff I've been on.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And that's the reality of it all. And so I think that changed our look at it. And so Mike approached me about the 20-minute thing. And then he was like, dude, we used to talk about this on the podcast, the age difference between him and I.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, we should just review and just break down everything.
But it's an interesting concept too.
Mike used to do that with certain guests on the live stream.
Really?
He did that. Him and Pittsburgh Dad did it with like their favorite sitcoms ever.
Really?
And like he's done it with other people too. It would be like favorite like movies. And he was just like, let's just do top fives, just me and you.
Yeah.
And then we were like, we'll take on other people who might be in the same generation as us or different.
Yeah.
And then you just happen to be. You were number one.
That's
You were my first millennial to bring on.
I appreciate it, man. Well, it's a fun time too. It's fun thinking of. Well, it was fun thinking of stand-up comedians like
I
that,
knew you'd
right?
enjoy that.
Well, I would enjoy that because I had something to say. The one that I missed when I did the show, because we did top 5 stand-ups,
Yeah.
millennials versus Gen X, and
Yeah.
Taylor Tomlinson was one that I missed. Do you know much Taylor Tomlinson?
I've heard the name. I don't think
She
I've.
just came through the Improv. She's fantastic.
Oh,
Like,
okay. That's why I know that. Okay.
Yeah, and she has a Netflix 15 minutes. She's on the Tonight Show. She's one that I definitely missed when I was
Bargatze
talking.
was on your list, though, right?
Bargatze was
I
on my
love
list.
Nate Bargatze.
He just
man.
came through the Improv
Yeah, I know.
too.
He's great.
He is great.
I thought that I listened to it again, and I just thought it was so interesting that our list was so different. Like not
That's
different,
interesting
but
too,
like
yeah.
the way we looked at it is the way I would expect it in a weird way. Like I don't know, your comedy reminds me of the people that were on your list, and
right,
then like
that's part of it.
I don't know, like my media. Like not expertise, like experience, kind of like pushes me to those people who are more like movie-ish. I just found it
completely
really
get
interesting, like that. And Mike said it after the podcast. He was like, "Yeah, like you guys are literally the same age, but it's different."
It's different. Have you always been a stand-up fan?
Yeah,
You said you wanted to do stand-up.
I've
and
always
it's
been a stand-up fan. Yeah, and the Improv was like the coolest job. Honestly, if I didn't have to like dedicate my Friday nights and Saturday nights there, I would totally work there again. But
yeah. Well, from everybody that I know at the Improv, like Eric and everybody there and Perry, they really enjoy it because you get to see comedians and everything. But it's just a cool atmosphere to be.
Yeah, it really is. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But like, yeah, you just like. I mean, obviously there isn't another person to come in and do that job if you can't do it. So you need to be there. So like. It is hard if you're trying like doing freelance gigs. That was like my biggest issue with them was trying to schedule freelance life with obviously touring comedians.
Well, are you working a lot at nights?
It was actually I was working mornings when I used to work at the Improv at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So like I couldn't work at the Improv because some nights you get done at like midnight, 1 o'clock.
Right.
By the time I would close up and everything. So
I understand.
That was the shitty part.
I understand.
I can swear on this, right?
No.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I asked you the same thing.
I know. I was like, wait, I just said the S word.
People don't like. I've said fuck a couple times, but people.
Oh, wow. That shows how much
it goes
I
through.
catch that.
I'm gonna bleep it all out. What do you? Yeah, people like. Maybe it's because of who I am. Like I'm pretty clean on stage.
Yeah.
I'm like, and we're in an office as well. Like people are like, "Can I swear on this?" I'm like,
you're dressed so nice. It
well,
feels weird to
that's
swear
part of
at
it
you.
too. And this is, I'm gonna move this show to my apartment at some point because I had a conversation with John Dick Winters about it. It's like, it's a weird. We just talked about it at the beginning of this. The show. It was. He was like, "Yeah, you're coming into this like weird office. It kind of throws people off a little bit."
I don't think
that's
so.
Because
I used to record in a place like this.
Well,
like I said, but it was my
experience.
least favorite place. I will say.
Right.
But we didn't have like a conference room. It was just literally like a room with a TV on it. Like I think that this is cool because like it's just a big boardroom.
Right.
I
Well,
like
I
like the painting behind you too.
Thank you.
It's a 3-piece.
Well, thank you. I took this. No, I didn't.
I was gonna say it's a beautiful
I
photograph.
took that one too. The picture of the wave.
while I was in it.
I was in it. But I like those close quarter spaces. Like I just think it's like more of an intimate conversation.
I also like literally just like doing it in my house because then I can just edit that.
Just fucking.
I edit it right then and there.
Lazy.
Laziness. I get to make my own coffee. Trust me, if I could open a space, that would be cool too. That would be cool.
Well, that's a dream.
We used to do that at Epicast, and I mean, I could just go record it down at Work Hard still too, but I don't know. Yeah, Mike and I live in the South Hills, so it just kind of makes sense. Yeah,
it's easy. What do you think your greatest experience has been on a project? Do you even if it was the result, the actual experience of making something, audio or video or anything else that you've done? Do you think there's been an experience that you remember for the rest of your life because it was just so?
I got to do Boom for the Steelers. That every project I do with them somehow throws in a cooler aspect. But the first project I ever did with them was their alumni shoots, and they do for the jumbotrons every season.
Oh, wow.
So like when like the game starts and like Franco's just up on the screen screaming, "Hello Pittsburgh, stand up,
that's
show them who
fun.
you are."
Yeah.
Yeah, we literally just recorded these in their locker room, and I just stood there with a boom pole. It was the most simple project I've ever done. It's probably like 30 minutes sometimes in a day.
That's so fun.
We would just like bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
Players would just come in, throw a jersey on, former players, and like I got to be like Franco Harris, Rocky Blyer, Bill Cower.
Yeah.
And like these are all guys like I look at like, whoa.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
right?
And and I got paid to do it. It was just because I've done free stuff like that, and I was like, man, I would have done this for free. And that's probably it. That or maybe I did a video for CMU recently. I didn't do the video. I did the boom and sound mixing, but it pumped me up. It was for their new Tepper Quad building that they have down there. That huge airport of a school building.
Yeah,
it turned out really good. And I don't know. I just, for some reason, I like that. It might not be like the most popular one I've ever done, but the way it turned out, it really got me like inspired.
You seem like you have an energy about this, though, like a real passion for it.
I do.
Like you're not. It never seems like, from what I know about your work, and from just talking to you a couple hours.
I know. I was gonna say we talked very briefly the first time we met. And I told you I was like, you are very good at stand up, and you were like, I'm kind of new at this. And I was like, no, dude, you're funny as hell. You remind me of Nate Bargatze.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think it was the cleanness. Like
yeah.
And I think you have a quirkiness to your jokes that I like.
I try and be goofy on stage.
Yeah,
that's what I'm really trying to be more.
Mulaney too.
Yeah,
but I think you have the writing aspect probably of Mulaney.
I'm trying to be a better writer. I have to devote time to writing, to like hard time to as anybody. I'm not complaining about that. I'm like, I hate writing. But it is like
jokes just come to you usually.
No, the opposite.
Opposite.
I have to spend time writing.
Thinking.
Like I have to sit down and write. And I can't, that is how I come up with jokes.
That's interesting.
And some people get just off the cusp. Nate Bargatze said in a podcast he's never written anything down.
That's and his dad was a clown.
Well, that's part of it.
His life is funny. But thank you, dude. I really appreciate it. No one ever tells me they like my stuff.
I don't fucking know how.
I think it's because of who I am. But I mean, like, people like it.
What'd you say?
People like it.
Very humble.
But like, people like it. I just no, like, people. You reached out to me, and you were the first person to ever do that.
That's fucking great, dude.
Thank you.
I
appreciate
think you're a talent in this city and this. I don't mean to stir anything, but maybe people don't know about yet.
Yeah, I don't think people know about me.
We get a number of listeners on this a week. I want people to know about you.
Thank you.
And but I've done it with like other people. There's my choir director at Pitt. His name is Richard Teester. He's coached people to the top of music. Like, he is the best vocal coach in town. It's like nobody fucking knows about this guy. He's been in this city for his entire life. Started in Nashville, came to this city, and he took the Glee Club at Pitt from like a 15-person organization that's been around 150 years to traveling the world. And there are people like that in this city that, if people really knew about their talent, yourself included, I think
I'm already
Pittsburgh becomes a better.
This person.
Oh, you have to listen to his episode.
I will.
Like, it's amazing.
Okay.
I'll toot my own horn with that.
I'll toot.
But I think you're great, man.
No, that's awesome.
That's my thing.
Were you in it when you were?
Yeah,
there?
I was in it.
That's awesome.
And then I did it was men's glee club.
Can you sing?
I can't sing.
Oh my god.
I'm a tenor one.
Oh,
I have a voice like a little oboe. That's what it is.
That's so great.
That's it, man.
You should definitely sing a comedy song.
Well, I've wanted to do piano stuff because I could play piano. That's what
She
I
teaches
can. You play?
piano.
Do you teach piano?
Yeah. If you need lessons.
How long did you take lessons?
12 years.
Did you?
She said 12.
Around here?
Yeah, in the South Hills.
How did you guys meet again?
We went to high school together.
You went to high school
Yeah,
together. What high school? Around
Baldwin.
Here? Oh, I'm sorry. You
Baldwin
said that.
High,
Yeah, Baldwin High School.
Class of 2012.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And then you went to college together?
So I moved down to Florida, and she did her first semester up here.
I did a year.
Oh, she did a year. Yeah, she went to Duquesne,
Okay.
and then she moved down. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And I started architecture there.
Oh, that's fun.
And then we moved back, and then she went to Pitt, and yeah, we've been.
That's fun. Were you architect? You weren't architecture at Duquesne.
I was not.
Where were you at
They
Duquesne?
didn't offer that.
They don't offer that.
I was general studies.
Oh, okay. All right.
Little general studies.
My girlfriend and all of her friends went to Duquesne, so it was like, if you did pharmacy, that'd be fun if you knew. So
And that's like a really good school there.
that's a great school
I know.
for
I was
pharmacy.
gonna say.
Mhm.
That's like their most popular thing.
Yeah.
It's like Slippery Rock and sports science.
That's
whatever,
it.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah,
I
dude.
know a couple people in there. Well, that's great, man. How are you in general?
I think I'm all right.
You all right?
I went to doctors today.
Did you?
Side note.
You're feeling good?
I'm feeling good. I mean, we got into a car accident last year, so I got a weird vertebrae thing. So I was
okay.
going to an OMT clinic, or it's
Yeah.
chiropractor or whatever.
You feel good?
Yeah, I feel good.
That's great.
Stretched out. How you feel?
I feel great.
Dude,
I'm
that's
glad.
great. What's your next show?
this Saturday. I'm doing one at
I'm gonna
Unplanned
self-promote
Comedy.
you right now.
Thank you. I'm gonna promote myself at the
I know
beginning.
you would. That's what I mean. So
Well, I'm gonna promote anything you want at the end.
you
but
promoted me. You promoted our podcast on our podcast. So I have to like.
That
return
is
the
true. You
favor.
know what? And I deserve to be
Follow me,
promoted on
Dolph.
my own podcast. Thank you. This is the last question.
Ooh.
First of all, thank you very much for doing
Dude,
this. By
thanks
the
for
way, this is a
having
lot of fun. So this is the question. I'm gonna ask both of you this question too, because my girlfriend Monica, her friends asked me this question before we started dating, and I think it was kind of like a test. Be
Yeah.
like, is this guy up to par? Like, is he a good guy? And I think I got the right answer. So I'm gonna ask you both this question. So, Tyler, Bridget, you're at a bar. The night is going very poorly. The bartender was just revealed to have poisoned 8 people's drinks. There is quicksand in the back of the bar. It swallowed up 10 Chinese people. It's a bad night, right? Flames everywhere. But it's also karaoke night.
Oh.
And it is your job to save the entire evening. What song are you singing?
Oh man.
And I want the
What would you?
reason
I'll let you go first,
why.
Bridget.
That's such a difficult question. Oh no. I'm at a loss. It's Raining Men came to my mind.
It's
Raining
Raining
Men?
Men.
I don't know that would help.
That's disrespectful. Cause, I'm just kidding.
Because everyone's getting swallowed.
I'm just kidding.
Thought made me think of it, like maybe we're falling into
That's
it, but
hilarious.
no.
That's hilarious,
Not gonna
though.
make anything.
That's hilarious.
Return of the Mac. Van Morrison. Return of the Mac.
Oh, that's great. Why?
I don't know. I love. That's like one of my favorite songs.
That's great. That's all I need. That's all I need.
That also could bring back the evening if I or what's the one? Poison.
I don't know that one.
Like it's like a 90s R&B. I love R&B music. I hope these people don't. I'm a terrible singer though, so they might want to die. I don't know.
That's
they might
great.
just jump
They
right into
wanna
the quicksand.
die.
Yeah, just head first down. It might be bad, man.
I love that. I love that a lot. You have anything you want to promote?
First off, follow at Mr. TV412. That's my Instagram, and also listen to the Mike Wysocki Show on iTunes and Spotify. We finally got on Spotify. It was a big deal.
Well,
Like I couldn't.
listen.
I didn't.
helps.
I know. I didn't literally see how like it never. You know how like it doesn't automatically do Spotify for you on your
Yes.
listen. I didn't notice that.
You
I
have
thought
to
you had
do
to
it,
like
yeah.
pay extra for it, and then I just like literally hit that button. I was like,
Oh, it's on Spotify.
what
now.
the
Well, I'm trying to get stuff on YouTube too. Do you know how to get stuff just automatically on YouTube
from there?
Yeah. Does
No.
it offer a service
don't
like
know.
that? Because
I used to literally just take like a make a video thing like with the audio underneath,
See, I
like a
need to do
picture or
that.
something like that.
I need to do
Yeah.
that.
That's and just upload it to
I
the
need to do
channel.
that,
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, thanks. Dude.
That's great. You get to sign us off. You get to say anything you'd like. I've had people swear at me. I've had people say inspirational things. I've had people make fun of me. You could say whatever you'd like. Tyler, sign us off.
Listen to Usually Wrong. High five.
Reggie, you want to say anything?
Definitely not.
Definitely don't listen to the podcast.
that no.
Oh my god. That's great.